Good morning, friends. My name is Angela and welcome to my YouTube channel. It is Saturday morning. It is the first weekend of spring, I guess. And after what was a pretty chilly week, I think this weekend is going to be very spring-like. I got out this morning for a walk with Luna, which was nice. I'm not sure if you can see her. She is freshly bathed after our walk this morning and she's a big fluff ball. But it was nice to get out this morning. It was chilly, but it wasn't freezing. We got rained on a little bit. She had her ice bath, which she loves in the lake. But then we got home and she had her bath and I had some breakfast and she had her breakfast and we're all nice and warm and cozy again. And so today, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'm thinking a vlog. I don't know, we'll see how it works out. But I've got a few things to get done this weekend and I thought I'd bring you along on the journey. The first thing I'm going to do today is I want to organise my bedside table, and what I want to do is refresh it for spring. I want to put a few of the spring kind of ish inspired books that I've been collecting and I want to just refresh it. The other things I wanted to get done this weekend is I have a garden task I want to get done. I bought a new rose plant which is actually it's a David Austin rose and it's called Roald Dahl, and it's this beautiful big, I think it's inspired by James and the Giant Peach, so it's a real peachy bloom. It's beautiful. I want to get a nice pot for it and pot it up this weekend. And then, I'm just making some chicken broth or bone broth to make a big batch of soup this weekend. It's just like little jobs around the house. So I thought I might bring you on the journey. I'm hoping to get some reading in, so I'll probably share some of my current reads with you. So we'll just see where it goes. I don't know about vlogging. I don't know. I'm not 100% on vlogging. I'm not sure if I want to do it, but maybe bringing you on these days with me and just sharing little bits and pieces is kind of nice. But I apologize if you can hear the snoring. Luna is right. Luna, hey. So anyway, let's get into it. I do have a nice cuppa. I got these beautiful little treats from my neighbor who just got back from Switzerland. They're these cute little Swiss biscuits, and she also bought me these like liqueur like chocolates. So I shared with you that I like to keep a couple of sweet treats in my bedside drawer. So I think I might put a couple of these in there. But there's a cognac liqueur, Kirsch, whiskey and rum, or maybe the whiskey ones I might put in there. I don't think I've tried Kirsch before. I don't know about rum. End up smelling like, I don't think my husband will be fond of me smelling like Jack Sparrow in the evening. But the whiskey ones, maybe. I think I might put a couple of those in there. But it was very nice of her to buy a few things for me. I just looked after them, just kept an eye on their house. They just live across the road while they were in Switzerland a couple of weeks ago, which was lovely. But it is nice to have a couple of sweet treats while having my cuppa this morning. Oh, it's a good coffee. Okay, so I have my little whiskey liqueur chocolate treat. I have been picking sweet peas and anemones from my garden like crazy. I haven't really planted sweet peas before, but this year I did because I had some climbing trellises that I had put in for peas, actual eating peas. Anyway, these are, I think they're called high scent, H-I scent, and the anemone, and I feel like I sound like Nemo. The anemones are just beautiful, but they are beautifully scented, so I do like having them on the bedside table. It's beautiful. So on to the books that I'm going to put on my bedside table. Now, when it comes to my bedside table, I think I shared with you in my newbie video, or I did like a bit of a this or that video, and I kind of shared where I read, and I don't read a lot in bed. I'm trying to do a little bit more because I've been getting into the bad habit of watching television in bed before going to bed, and before going to sleep, and I want to get back to reading before going to sleep. But I do love a slow Saturday morning where I wake up, go get a coffee, jump back into bed and read something. So these are the kind of books that I want to put on my bedside table so I can read them. So the first thing that I found was I was in a bookstore recently and I realized I hadn't bought any cookbooks recently. So I was quite inspired by what had come out. And I came across this one, which was from Skye McAlpine, which is called A Table for Friends. And it is a beautiful little book. I have heard of Skye McAlpine before. I haven't bought any of her cookbooks previously. But I am so inspired to do a little more entertaining this season, and this is just beautiful. I think the reason why I picked it up was because I came across this recipe for lavender honey panna cotta, which looks incredible. And Skye McAlpine's philosophy towards cooking for a crowd is very simple. She doesn't go for cooking individual dishes for everybody, 3 courses, 5-course meals. She's very much the kind of person who'll just plonk a roast chicken with a bunch of sides on a table, and it's really quite simple, and I am all for that. I am all for finding ways to cut corners where you can, but wow where you can as well. And I think that's a great way to entertain a crowd. I think it's quite inspiring to find something that you can flick through, that you can get inspiration for the season. And all of these are very much spring and summer inspired. Like this beautiful roast chicken, Aphrodite's roast chicken. I don't know what sounds more beautiful than that. But anyway, this I think is a beautiful little book that will be nice to flick through now and then. And I hope it's going to inspire me to get out, invite more people to my house for entertaining this season. I came across this, my first folio edition, in a secondhand store a few weeks ago. I bought the Wind and the Willows folio, and I think I got it for around about $70 or $80 Australian, and if I was to buy it new, I think it might be about $130 Australian, so it was quite a buy. It was brand new in the pack, it was still sealed in plastic, so I thought that was a good buy. And Wind and the Willows to me just screams spring. The book opens with Mole doing his spring cleaning and then throwing in the towel and deciding to go on his adventures with Ratty and Toad and all the rest of them. But this is really quite a beautiful little book. I've never bought a folio edition before. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but the illustrations are gorgeous. I think this may start a terrible addiction to wanting to buy more folio editions. It really is quite beautiful. Toad is hands down my favourite character. He's really wonderful. So I have The Wind and the Willows on my bedside, which I think is a great read for spring, but it does take you through all of the seasons, so it's not just a spring read, although it does start in spring. Another recent purchase, which I have wanted for a long time, is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. And I've wanted this for a long time. I bought this coffee table edition from Rizzoli, which is really lovely. I'm quite inspired by nature writing at the moment, and I really wanted it from that perspective. But it's just beautiful to flick through here and there. So it is a pain being in the Southern Hemisphere and having these sort of books, so when I want to read about peak summer here in Australia, which is in December or January, I guess, I can't read December or January in this because that's winter. I need to be reading July and August. But the illustrations are lovely. So I kind of have to read it a little bit backwards, but I am looking forward to that. I think it's a perfect one for the bedside table to be able to flick through. One I shared with you I'm not sure if it was a haul or I purchased this recently, is The Farmer's Wife from Helen Rebanks, My Life in Days. And my understanding with this particular book is that it is over a day? I think it starts from her morning, her midday, her afternoons. She is the wife of James Rebanks, who is quite famous for his own books that he's written about being a farmer and a regenerative farmer in Britain. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think the fact that it is laid out in a way that is easy to digest will be really quite good. Yeah, so it goes dawn, morning, afternoon, late afternoon, and evening, and then it has a number of recipes in here as well. So I think that's a great one for the bedside table. So The Farmer's Wife from Helen Rebanks. What would be a bedside table of Ange without Winnie the Pooh? And I decided to put A Walk in the Wood, Meditations on Mindfulness with a Band Named Pooh by Dr. Joseph Parent and Nancy Parent. This is very, very slight, tiny. It's non-fiction. Well, I guess it's a blend, but my understanding is it's taking moments of Pooh and it's transferring it or relating it to moments of, how you can apply it to your life to find a little bit of peace. And I would not say no to that. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's perfect for maybe picking up a little bit here and there. Anxiety or stress is something that just seems to be getting a bit harder for my body to manage on its own as I get older, and it's manifesting itself in all sorts of lovely, mysterious ways. So anything I can do to help that will be great. So I thought that'd be a nice one to keep on the bedside table. The last one for down in this little section here is Unearthing the Secret Garden from Marta McDowell, The Plants and Places That Inspired Frances Hodgson Burnett. I purchased a book a couple of months ago, which was I think it was called The Gardening Life of Beatrix Potter by Marta McDowell, and I really loved it. The first half of the book was Beatrix Potter's almost a biography, but it was how gardens and gardening and plants inspired Beatrix Potter, her life and her work. And then the second half of the book was her gardens at Hilltop and in her homes. The Secret Garden is such a perfect spring read. So I got this one and I thought it would be perfect. And it looks like it's a very, very similar layout. It's kind of broken into 4 parts. Before the Secret Garden, inside the Secret Garden, after the Secret Garden, and outside the Secret Garden. It picks up on a few different houses, so homes of her own, both in England and in New York and in Bermuda. But there's some beautiful little illustrations throughout. I think it's going to be really quite lovely. And yeah, I think what else? What a perfect thing for spring on your bedside table. So anything nature inspired will just be perfect, I think. So these are the bigger kind of coffee table-ish books, I guess, on my bedside table for spring. And then I've got maybe another 6 or so books that I'm also popping up on here just to pick up every now and then. I always like to try and include a devotional of some sort, and the one I wanted to pop on here was Deeper by Dane C. Ortland. I did read one a while ago which was called Gentle and Lowly, which was incredible, and I highly recommend his devotionals. So I am looking forward to getting into this one, and I do love all these versions from this particular publisher, Crossway from Inalloy, and they're just such really lovely nature inspired covers which instantly just make me breathe a little bit deeper. So that was my choice for a devotional that I wanted to put on my bedside table. I'm still reading through The Gardener's Bed book, which was something I put on here in autumn. This is actually it takes you through there's a reading for every day of the year, and it's really quite lovely. I do enjoy reading it. I've started making little bookmarks on ones that I want to pop into my commonplace journal. This was one about violas. Some flowers are like women who take their jewels out of the safe deposit box only on rare and important occasions. Others wear them all the time. If you want to see the jewels of some, you must be on hand at the right time. How gratifying are those that persist in flowering week after week and month after month. Such are the violas. It's a lovely little one to have on the bedside table if you're a gardener. I do recommend it. I also have Notes from Walnut Tree Farm by Roger Deacon. Again, it's very similar where it's just very small little writing, so it's something that you can pick up and put down, which I think is really important for a bedside table book. It's something that you don't have to invest half an hour to an hour reading a chapter if you don't want to. So that was another one I put on there. A new edition is Onward and Upward in the Garden by Catherine S. White, which is edited and introduced by E.B. White. And I think there's a lot of history behind this particular author that I really want to understand a lot more about. But this is a little bit of the background. In 1925, Harold Ross hired Catherine Sargent Angell as a manuscript reader for The New Yorker. Within months, she became the magazine's first fiction editor, discovering and championing the work of Vladimir Nabokov, John Updike, James Thurber, Marion Moore, and her husband-to-be E.B. White, amongst others. After years of cultivating fiction, White sets her sights on a new genre, garden writing. On March 1st, 1958, the New Yorker ran a column entitled Onward and Upward in the Garden, a critical review of garden catalogues in which White extolled the writings of seedmen and nurserymen, those unsung authors who produced her favourite reading matter. 13 more columns followed, exploring the history and literature of gardens, flower arranging, herbalists, and developments in gardening. 2 years after her death in 1977, E.B. White collected and published the series with a fond introduction. The result is this sharp-eyed appreciation of the green world of growing things, of the aesthetic pleasures of gardens and garden writing, and of the dreams that gardens inspire. So, again, it's little, snippets. I think that'll be really lovely. I'd like to know a little bit more, I think, about Catherine White and, of course, E.B. White as well. And I shared this with you in my spring TBR, James Herriot, The Wonderful World of James Herriot. It wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be just extracts from his books. It's not. There is extracts with context or commentary around them. So I have started reading it, and so far I'm enjoying it. So this is also on my bedside table because it is little short stories. And then the last one I have on my bedside table for now is a new edition, because I really like to have some sort of poetry on my bedside table. And this one I came across is Poems of the Sea from the Everyman's Library Pocket Poets. And these are beautiful. I think, like the folio editions, this may start a new collection, because without the hardcovers, without the dust jackets, these are just exquisite. They really are beautiful. And there are so many types of subjects and topics. So these are all just poems of the sea. They're kind of broken down into ballads, songs and shanties, prayers, anthems, legends, and there's all sorts of different types of authors or writers. I think it's going to be really nice to be able to pick up one of these and just kind of be immersed into it. Yeah, so I think this may be a new collection that I'll be starting. But so these are the books that I've got on my bedside table. I think this is a good collection for spring to keep me entertained, probably well through until the end of summer, to be honest, because these will carry on through. But yeah, so anyway, that's my collection. This is my bedside table sorted. I've got some treats. I've got lots of lovely books. And now I'm going to get on with my day. I hope Luna wasn't snoring too loudly through all of this. She's been very noisy. For now, I'm going to make myself a fresh cup of tea, I think, go sit down and read a book for a little bit, and then pop out and do some errand running. And I'll catch up with you later. this new pot place that I've never been to before. I've driven past it a number of times. And it just went on for miles, all these pots. Anyway, I got what I think will be a really nice one. I planted the plant into it, and I think it will be really beautiful once it's grown into its space. I feel like I'm probably on a hiding to nothing though, because a lot of people in my area have just ripped out their roses lately because we've had a lot of chili thrip issues where these chili thrips have kind of attacked all the roses. So instead of having all the new growth has just been attacked, so you just have these long sticks with no growth on them whatsoever. But I have another rose in my garden which is doing okay right now, so I'm kind of hopeful. Where I have planted or put this pot that this rose is going is right near where I will sit in summer and read, and I'm hoping that there's going to be some beautiful scent coming from it. So I'm romanticizing this a lot, but I hope it goes well. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Hello. Hello. But I thought what I would do was, I was going to run another errand. I was going to go out and do my grocery shopping, and I cannot be bothered because while I was at I went and bought the pot, and then I had to go buy some potting mix. And of course I came out with like plants as well. So my plans have changed. I'm going to do some gardening this afternoon instead. And I am so thankful to Angela from about a month ago who made a pie and put it in the freezer. And I have a chicken and leek pie that I can now have for dinner tonight. And I actually made it, I think I shared it with you a while ago. I made it a couple of, like back in autumn, and I made it again because the recipe makes 2 pies. And I made it out of the Julius Roberts The Farm Table book. It's a very, very good cookbook, this one. And the recipe is a chicken and leek pie. The cookbook is written in sections, like in season sections. Beautiful looking pie, chicken, leek and tarragon pie. And the way he writes it up is he says, you know, bake one now and put one in the freezer for after you've spent a day in the garden in autumn. And I'm going to do that after a day in the garden in early spring. So I'm very thankful to myself from a number of months ago for putting that in the freezer, and that'll be my dinner for tonight. So I don't have to go to the supermarket today. But I am going to share with you my current reads, what I've currently got on the go at the moment, what I'm reading right now. And there is a couple of Shorty Septembers in here. I wasn't planning on doing a reading list for Shorty September, but you could most definitely read these for it. One that I just started yesterday, which I am enjoying it, is The Birds and Other Stories from Daphne du Maurier. It's a collection of short stories. I am not fully up to speed with all of the different types of tags on YouTube, and I don't know if Shorty September is just short books or short stories as well. This is a book of 6 short stories, and I'm currently in the middle of The Birds, and it is very, very good. I am really enjoying it. If you haven't read it, I wanted to read it in advance of Halloween. I wanted to be able to see if I could recommend it as a Halloween read, and I'm enjoying that at the moment. So I'm in the middle of that. And another one I'm in the middle of, which sounds a little bit like a Halloween-y read, but it is not, is Vampires in the Lemon Grove by Karen Russell. This is great. It's another collection of short stories. I don't actually have a bookmark in here, so I'm using the flap to mark my page. But it is a selection of 8 short stories, and the first one is An Unforgettable Parable of Addiction and Appetite, Mortal Terror and Mortal Love. 2 vampires in a sun-drenched lemon grove try helplessly to shake their thirst for blood. And there's a little bit of humour. It's very funnily written. And I'm into the second book at the moment, which is a community of girls held captive in a silk factory slowly transmute into human silkworms, spinning delicate threads from their own bellies and escape by seizing the means of production for their own revolutionary ends. It's very, very, very fun. Interesting. It's not dark, but I'm enjoying it. It's old. It's older. I think it's 2014, maybe 2013. And I think Karen Russell has a really great reputation. I'm enjoying Vampires in the Lemon Grove, and the first story was very, very good. Another one on the go is I have started H for Hawk by Helen McDowell. This was on my spring TBR and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to pick up first. I decided to go with the first one I had in my list, and I'm only a teeny way through it at the moment, but so far so good. A few of you have said that you've read it and you did really enjoy it as well. Yeah, I think this is going to be quite pensive. I'm not going to be taking this on the train with me. It was quite confronting. It's written as a memoir after Helen's father has passed away, and just that moment when she gets that phone call that her dad has passed was quite real. But the writing is really lovely and I'm enjoying reading it so far. So that's another one I've got on the go at the moment. And a couple of other ones that I have bought but not yet started, and I think I want to read this one today, is Gardening Can Be Murder by Marta McDowell. And I realised this is the same one, this is the same author who has written that book about the secret garden that I shared on my bedside table, and also the one about Beatrix Potter. I've just been buying all of her books and I didn't realise they were all her. She's a great writer all about gardening, and she does have another book which is Emily Dickinson and about gardening, her gardening life. Emily Dickinson's gardening life. There's also another one on Laura Ingalls Wilder. So I'm going to be buying all of her books by the look of it. But this one is How Poisonous Poppies, Sinister Shovels and Grim Gardens Have Inspired Mystery Writers. And I think that'll be a little bit of fun. It sounds like just a little bit of fun on a Saturday afternoon, so why not? I also picked up another Daniel Mason book. I read my first Daniel Mason earlier this year, which was North Woods, and I absolutely loved it. And I haven't yet picked up any of his other books. And this is a short book. It's a small book. It's less than 250 pages, so it could be a shorty September recommendation. A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth. It is a collection of varying timelines and stories. A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth captures life in all its forms across the globe. At times funny and irreverent, always moving, Daniel Mason has created a truly dazzling and rich collection of fiction. So I'm not sure if it presents itself like a selection of short stories or if there is a thread that connects them all together, but his writing is incredible, impeccable. I really do enjoy it, so I thought I'd give that a go. So that's a little shorty September recommendation. And I mentioned I'd picked up a few cookbooks recently, and this was the other one I got, which is going to be on rotation in summer, and it's Les Sud by Rebecca Pepler, and it is transportive. I'm looking forward to trying a couple of the cocktails, some of the recipes. It's heavily summer inspired. I love the look of this traditional niçoise salad. Oh, it's just beautiful. Could you imagine? Imagine being right there right now. I'm ready for summer. Unfortunately, no great summer holidays are coming my way, so I'll be living vicariously through this. Those are some books I've got on the go, some books that I bought recently, but I think I'm going to chill out for a bit, maybe start reading The Gardening Can Be Murder, and I don't know, if my husband sees this on the shelf, he may freak out a little bit, but all of a sudden I've got 3 Marta McDowell books on my bookshelf. It's incredible. I think this might be the end of the vlog today. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you, some wonderful reading ahead of you, whatever it may be, and I will see you next weekend. Bye.